So today we have a video where Alex Hormozi is sitting down and discussing with Tony Robbins.
How do you see the dichotomy between duty and enjoyment as it relates to the impact that you want to make with the business that you have?
I believe this is not really the proper way to look at it in order to have both, because it's possible. It's totally possible to have duty and enjoyment at the same time. There is an important way into how you accept your duty. You might accept your duty with defeat.
When I was 20, I got obsessed with positive psychology. I had a trunk of books, and every single one of them was self-help, things like this, early on, before I had a business, any of that stuff. And I got to a point where I realized I had read all the books and my life hadn't changed.
Yeah.
And it felt very hopeless for me because my subjective well-being was the same. And so I came up with a mantra for myself, which you might laugh at, which was fuck happiness. Because I felt so rejected by the notion, because I felt so unattainable for me. And so what I replaced it with was I will be useful.
Duty, it's not absolute. It's still accepted. It still requires our partaking into accepting the duty. So that means that how you accepted that duty also matters. You could accept duty as in like, I choose to do this. I can design my life. I can look at my challenges and go like, look, it looks like I'm very good at making money. I'm a very competent man and this and that. However, it looks like that is not working. What can I do about it? I don't accept that I have one life and I'm going to be like, man, I'm going to just like be the billionaire that is like this. I swear, I don't know. For me, that would be like a personal challenge. I'm like, wait, hold on a second. I'm competent enough to make millions and billions, and I'm so useful at scale. An entire planet knows me, and at the same time, I struggle with this, and I kind of accept it.
That's why duty for me feels meaningful, because it's like, well, I might not enjoy this whole ride, but like everyone else can get stuff out of it. And so that's the struggle that I have, because like I'm okay with that.
You're okay with it, but you're torn by it, my friend.
Yes. No, agreed.
That's
Agreed.
pretty obvious, right?
I will accept that.
I understand you'll accept that.
Yes.
But would you accept anything else in your other businesses? Would you accept something that's mediocre compared to what you're capable
of course.
But for me to see that he is kind of defeated on that front, while he is wildly successful in other areas, I'm like, dude, like, watch this video, wake up, like, do this. It's so, even Tony at one point pointed out, he said like, man, you're a good man. You don't need to suffer. Like, Tony said like, well, I don't want anyone to suffer, but at the same time, you yourself, you are full of value. Just, that is like something, it was almost like, oof.
What's that guy's name? Give me a nickname for that guy. One that maybe will make you
Analytical Alex.
laugh.
There you go.
What's
Analytical Alex.
Analytical what?
Analytical Alex.
Okay, analytical Alex. Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, who's this guy who was just laughing with me, looked over his wife, big smile on his face. Your smile is infectious, right? And this is you, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so who is this guy?
Anabolic Alex.
But the person answering is still analytical Alex. My view, this is what I got from this, is that he never switched from being in his head to being in his heart.
Why are most people stressed? Mm-hmm. Like, if you talk to people, like successful people, they're always talking about, I'm so stressed, I'm stressed. Yeah. I'm pretty passionate about this answer, primarily because you're asking me. Because you're asking a question, it's a very sophisticated question most people never ask because they never get to where you are. But it'd be very useful in work.
Yeah.
I want you to do it for something else, and so I can't do it for you, but it'd be very useful for you to get an environment. I'm not selling you, but like we have mutual friends, and they all rave about what a generous, incredible guy you are, but I don't see you feeling the level that you have, and I can see part of it is energy. So you have to wake it up and you got to get associated.
It feels to me that the problem here is that he switched from, I want to feel happy, I want to achieve that, and then when he tried and nothing changed, he took it, like this was the adaptation, like the coping mechanism, like, you know what, fuck happiness. But in fuck happiness also means I don't want to feel. If I cannot feel good, I disconnect from the feeling. And that is what I believe to lead later, and he is pointing in the video that he has an apathy issue.
That is probably a struggle that I have dealt with, which is that I have an apathy issue. I'll tell you a microcosm of this is when I got in the fitness industry, I got into it because fitness was the only thing I was really into. And so I was like, well, I'll do something I love because I was a management consultant. I was like, well, this sucks. I'm going to do something I love. And then as soon as I got into the business of fitness, I realized that the vast majority of my day had nothing to do with fitness at all. And it was like billing and, membership sales and like all this other stuff. Yeah. And when I started getting the testimonials coming in of these people who were going through, our process, losing weight, getting off medications, whatever, maybe the first couple of months it felt like something. But then on like the 100th and the 1000th, I was like, well, yeah, of course you stopped, you moved better and you stopped eating shit and it worked out, like it's not, basically the magic was gone for me.
Yes.
So how do you find the magic? Well, how did you find the magic the first time? Think about it. How did you find the magic the first time? That, like, it's not like you cannot have magic. You can. You did multiple times in your life. But you have to find it in you again to go back to magic. But you are not going to get back to magic if you lock everything like, fuck happiness, I cannot enjoy, I will just accept to be useful. There is no magic in that. The magic is into accepting the infinite possibilities.
The difficulty that I have is like, I work the hours that I'm awake, pretty much. Yeah. And the difficulty that I have is finding enjoyment outside of work. And the contribution from that perspective, like I've spoken to a number of billionaires, yourself included, where I'm like, the next game, right? And so the game that we're in right now, I know, obviously there's gonna be risks, there's gonna be lots of things that we're gonna do, but I feel like I have a direction of what I know what we're doing. And when I talk to some of the...
Well, apathy comes exactly from that. It's a disconnection from feeling. Like, I'm going to just like function on autopilot. I'm going to be on autopilot. I'm going to go through life through the motions. I know what to do. Not much of a challenge here. I'm competent at what I'm doing and I'm living life this way. But it's all kind of like a dream. Feels to me that he is, just like Tony said, he's kind of like self-hypnotized. He hypnotized himself being on autopilot, going through the motions and becoming very competent in his business and becoming less emotional. That's why he said like, well, that's why I became more successful, because I disconnect the emotion from the decision making. I'm able to make good decisions because they're disconnected from the emotion.
In order to create the emotional connection, because that is like the thing that I probably have struggled the most from, but I think it's made me disproportionately successful from a business perspective because I can make good calls, right?
Yeah. But you see, when you do this over and over and over and again, and you spend all your working time and all your working hours working, of course you cannot find enjoyment outside of work because there is no time. You're not really dedicating any of that. And guess what? You can no longer feel. He also says, I work all the time. Well, how can you find enjoyment outside of work if work is all the time? And that means that he's using work as a way to avoid something that he trained himself to believe that he cannot get. Working all the time is his coping mechanism. But you see, undoing that conclusion, I cannot have joy, I cannot have happiness, fuck happiness, that conclusion alone, that you need to erase that. Because once you erase that and you allow yourself to go like, wait, hold on a second, I'm super successful, and all life is one game, not multiple games, just one. It's just different levels, different challenges, you fight this boss and the final boss, and you have different obstacles, but it's all one game. And it means that everything is interconnected, everything is like just one thing. You cannot separate business Alex to life Alex and like this. No. It's all integrated. It's all one actually. So when you realize that, you realize, I need to really accept my next challenge. My next challenge, surprisingly, if you wake up, like if you open your eyes, it's not about money. It's about you. And we all have different challenges in life. We start from different places, we have different journeys, and our unique path, and wherever you are at a certain point, like the snapshot of where you are in life right now, for example, tells you exactly what's your unique next challenge, what is the solution. But I think Alex is looking at it is like from, how can I make more impact? How can I make more money? How can I get more numbers? And I'm saying that will never be the solution. He even points out the fact that, I don't know if this was his solution or Tony, but he said like, well, help 100,000 men to get to 100,000 income, right? And I'm saying that that's just numbers. That's the wrong way to look at it. It's still external, still wrong thing. You will achieve it just like the charity, where you give like $2 million and you're back to square one. And you'll feel like even more empty. Because you see, here is the thing. The more you try to achieve happiness and fulfillment with external factors, oh, I'm going to donate $2 million. I'm going to do this. My happiness is my wife. My happiness is my friends. My happiness is this and that. The more you try that, and the more you realize that something is still missing, the more depressed you become, the more nihilistic, the more you let go, or not let go in an acceptance kind of way, but you let go in a defeated kind of way. It's learned helplessness. And I think that this is what is an issue that I see here. Alex has learned helplessness. He's learned that nothing that he does will make him enjoy. Not realizing that the lock and key is his conclusion that fuck happiness, I cannot have this. Well, that's the problem. The moment you accept or you state something, you make a statement about yourself, I cannot have happiness. That didn't work for me. I gave up. I'm like, well, there you go. That is the problem. The problem is that you lock the door and threw out the key.
Basically, what can I change about my behavior to maximize my enjoyment and size of impact?
His challenge is not maximizing enjoyment. I think it's like finding joy first. Challenging himself to feel again. And even if you feel suffering, that's still a better feeling than not feeling anything. Again, if you look closely and you see his answers, for me, I remember like Tony is asking at one point, it's like, okay, so who's this guy? Like analytical Alex or anabolical Alex? And Alex, it's like he's kind of like, you can see he's like already he has the answer prepared.
Because by the way, we laugh like this. What, can you feel the difference? Like this guy right here who's smiling at me right now. Yeah. Is that a different guy?
Yes.
So what's the part of this guy that's so intellectual that, he's going to suffer and he's going to get it done anyway? It's not this guy right here. This guy like this guy here. This guy's is this guy different?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So you just shifted just like that.
Yeah.
But by the way, as you're laughing about it now, who's in charge right now?
Yeah, anabolic. Yeah.
Right.
And that means he's not really feeling the interaction. He's not really considering, like I didn't see him go like, Let me check with myself. Let me be in my body to check with myself, and then I will provide the answer. No, he already had the answer prepared before that. And you can see the game is you have a life, and there is only one game, one life. There is no multiple games. It's like just like one. And then in that, you have a duty to design and redesign and change and see what's going on and see if it works. And if something doesn't work, you try again and again and again, but you never give up on what's good. You never give up on yourself. And I feel like Alex at one point gave up on himself, but he never revisited that conclusion. It felt to me that he never came back to say like, wait a second. Like, hold on a second. I was in my 20s. Now I'm almost twice as that, way more experienced, way more as a competent man. I'm a mature man. Maybe I should revisit that. Maybe I should look at that very, very decision and accepting that was wrong. And then what I would propose personally is like the challenge right now is like, how can you make even more money, have impact, but start feeling the impact that you're getting?
I remember the first time I wrote $1 million check and then multiple $1 million checks to charities, and I was just like, okay, I feel a couple $1 million poorer. That's about it.
Because you're not emotionally associated anyway.
Zero. But I did the tours of the school, and I was like, I'm glad that this
you haven't
helped.
Found the thing. Just contribution for contribution is not what I'm talking about.
And this is where I went. I was like, I selfishly wrote these checks so that I would feel good, and now I don't even feel good, and now I'm just $2 million poorer. But I shouldn't feel bad about doing good. And then it was just the whole.
It's because the motivation was not right. When your motivation, I'm going to just give up some money so I can feel good, that's still the wrong motivation. Because happiness cannot really come and shouldn't come from external things. Look at this. So he was trying to get happy by doing charity. Didn't work, obviously, because the whole idea of charity, it's like their branding is like, give us money and you'll feel good and you will also be perceived to be good. This is what charity is doing. It's like working on they're like financing this, all this like wealthy individuals that might have they have like a hole in their soul, to a void in their soul to fill. And the charity marketing is always saying like, oh, if you give us money, you will feel good. All this feeling that you feel empty after all this success is going to go away if you give us the money. And sure enough, that didn't happen. Like in this video, it's like so clear. I'm like, I hope more millionaires and billionaires see this video to realize that the happiness comes from inside. It doesn't come from outside. Because you cannot find joy. You cannot depend on money, people, success. You cannot depend on any of that. You have to find that in yourself.
The issue that I have is that I got here from push and anger, for sure.
Yes, yeah.
When you start, let's say you're in your 20s and you start doing something, most people tell you, oh, you know what, don't think too much, just like start doing something, anything, and then you'll get feedback from reality, you can reconsider, and then you can adjust along the way, and still that's better than just thinking. And I say, actually no. You know how many taxi drivers I know in their 50s and 60s that they started in their 20s with exactly this idea, like, you know what, I'm not going to think about anything, I'm going to just do the first thing that comes to mind, and then I'm going to figure it out later. But guess what happens? Life sometimes will give you feedback, and you are going to be rewarded for things that you do. And you are going to take that reward as a proof that you should continue. Imagine, taxi driver in their 20s, be like, I don't think too much. I'm just going to do what? I have a car, I know how to drive. Taxi driver, great. So they start to drive the car, and then they meet a girl. She becomes pregnant, they marry. Now they have bills they have to pay, and now they cannot quit the job, the taxi job, because, well, now they're stuck with the bills, stuck with the responsibilities, and no longer have the freedom to switch directions. Okay, will this person still enjoying being a taxi driver in their 50s? Oh, hardly, because that was not their choice. They just got there by push. Something pushed them. They were not pulled by, I love doing this. I love driving cars. I know I will do this forever. This is my passion, my gift. I would do this for free. No, they got there by push. Like, meh. I guess we can do it, so I'm going to do it. And then, oh, I have to pay the bills. I still have to continue. So then no choice. Well, when you arrive at things this way, not just by design, but by randomness, by just taking random action and then getting some validation and confusing that for an opportunity or an invitation for you to continue in that direction, well, that's what happens. You get to a point where you're successful, but you're not successful by your design. You're successful by just like following like something that worked and go like from this, oh, this works, so I go to do this, I make some money, I'm like, oh, but now I make some money, so I have to continue this. And you follow the trail. You follow the trail, and you never live a life of your own design. In this situation, the good news is like, hey, great, a new challenge. If I would say something to Alex right now, I would say, great, this is the challenge. You are already here. Good news, you are super competent. Good news, you have some things working for you that 99% of the people would do anything to have, and you have it. The only thing is that now you have to adjust. You have to find the solution. Okay, how do I use what I already have? How do I change it in a way? What do I need to change in order to have that as well? I want to live a good life. I want to enjoy it. And enjoyment is not something that I will take a no as an answer. Magic is lost happens quite often. Actually, it will be magical for the magic to exist all the time, because the magic is a spark. Magic is just happens. It's like, ooh, magic, like, oh, wow. But then it goes down. Magic is not like an eternal, it's not a permanent state. So then the question becomes not like, how can I maintain always the magic? You cannot. But the question becomes, how do you get magic back or to a magic place once you had a challenge, there was magic, there was spark, but you lose it? How do you get back to that? And that is a useful question, because it puts you back in the driver's seat. Like, look, I'm not asking something outside of the car. I'm like about the car. I'm getting into the driver's seat. I'm like, okay, I need to drive this car again because I lost the magic. I'm outside of it. I'm no longer riding with it, right? So that's a challenge, but those challenges have to be accepted. They have to be recognized, clarified, but like, ooh, yeah, that's my challenge. This is my next challenge. I set it in. I lock it in. I'm going with it. I will do everything possible. I'm going to achieve this. I'm going to be rich, successful, wealthy, everything, and I will enjoy it.